You are listening to Keep Canada Weird, a weekly weird news roundup by the Nighttime Podcast.
Handsome Aaron Airport. It will be known as episode 164 of Keep Canada Weird. How are you doing?
So many episodes. I'm doing great. Just hanging in there, taking her day by day. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'll be honest, my allergies are bothering me. I'm this time of year when all the trees and plants and flowers are opening up. I turn into like a nerd because I think like seasonal allergies is kind of a nerdy thing, right?
Yeah, total dork city. Yeah, you should. Yeah, you should just put some tape, get some glasses, put some white tape around the center of them. Get a pocket protector and
give my lunch money to some tough guys.
Yeah. Get stuffed down a toilet, stuffed into a locker.
We're recording this just after a long weekend, the Victoria Day weekend. Did you have anything special happen in your life over the long weekend? Did you go on a vacation?
I did. You must be a psychic who helps people fall in love.
Funny that you say that. We are going to be talking about love psychics again, just like we did last week.
Yeah. I was away on the weekend in Toronto. There was a friend of mine was getting married, and me and a bunch of other friends all converged into the city and had an awesome time. It was a great time. The wedding was wonderful. And yeah, that was that.
Good. Long weekends are a blast. Our first story is going to involve the Victoria Day long weekend, but we can't jump right into the weird Canadian news without first doing our ceremonial, ritualistic unveiling of the special drink. I'll go first. It's usually you. I actually have two special drinks today. I have a hot tea, again, fighting the allergies and all that stuff, but I've brought along with me a ginger kombucha, which are, I don't know what, they're like fermented something or others. People who drink kombucha know what they are. I drink them all the time, but I don't know what they are, but I enjoy them.
Great. Two drinks, that's overkill, but I guess we'll go with that.
Okay.
I just, unfortunately now, I only have one drink. I didn't get the memo that we were supposed to have multiple special drinks now. So anyway, I guess I'll go for it, but I have a zero sugar 7-Up.
Okay. Let's. I'll crack mine as you crack yours. I haven't opened my kombucha yet. Did you open yours? Let's go.
No, I was waiting for the proper time.
3, 2, 1.
Go. I'm gonna have a sip though.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, special drinks have been unveiled. We've drunk a drink of our special drinks. Let's get into the week's weird, offbeat, and unusual Canadian news stories. We started the show by talking a little bit about our Victoria Days. You talked about yours. My Victoria Day weekend, long weekend, was special. I actually welcomed a new member to my family. I am now the proud owner of a sweet little dog. Still undecided the name. It is I don't know the breed. It's like a mix. People call them potcakes because I guess that means like mutt from Bahamas. It's like a rescue from the Bahamas, where my understanding is dogs just kind of like run wild there.
Right. Wild.
Whichever wild running dog from the Bahamas we got found her way into our heart and our homes over the long weekend. So that was my special thing.
I don't want to, rain on your parade here, but so this was a wild dog from the Bahamas.
Well,
right?
I guess its parents were. The one I got's a little puppy, and it's sweet as hell. And be careful what you say.
I'm just wondering if this is a Trojan horse situation for the animal uprising.
Because
we have a wild animal being brought into your home, posing as an ally. And could it be there knowing that you and I are at the front and center of the information war against the animals over the uprising? Could this be some kind of a spy mission? I don't know, but I just want to plant that seed in your ear and let its roots entangle in your brain, because you need to watch out for certain behavior, I think.
Okay.
And I think now that I'm highlighting this for you, you might be able to recognize some red flags going forward.
Well, I don't know if this is a red flag, but my puppy has yet to obey sitting. and it's used the bathroom on my floor already. So yeah, I will watch, and I'll keep you and the listeners of Keep Canada Weird abreast of any developments. And of course, if there's any evidence that there's any like suspicions of foul play between my dog and I, yeah, you'll be the first to hear. But all that said, you had a lovely Victoria Day long weekend. I had a lovely Victoria Day long weekend. A lot of people in Ontario had a frustrating and annoying Victoria Day long weekend. It was so bad and so weird that it made the news. For many Ontarians, Ontarians? Is that the word?
I don't want to comment.
I'm going to just put my reputation on the line. For many Ontarians hoping to kick off their long weekend with a smooth drive to the cottage, there was an unexpected herd of trouble. 7 cows, spooked by a thunderstorm, escaped from a farm in Aurora and made their way onto Highway 400, turning a normally busy Friday commute into a bovine-fueled traffic nightmare that left drivers frustrated and authorities scrambling to corral the runaway animals. Here's the story of the cows on the highway in Ontario.
It's been a wild day here right now. You can't make this stuff up. The unofficial start of summer, Victoria Day long weekend, traffic's going north, and we got half a dozen cows running up and down the highway. It all started early this morning, apparently, when they got out of their corral. Apparently they got spooked by weather, lightning, thunder, potentially. Not 100% sure on that, but around 2 o'clock is when they made their way over to the 400. And you can see the one cow just behind me here right now, which has finally found some shade and is taking a break. But they were running up and down the highway through construction zones, across the highways, into traffic. It really was crazy. And, it's a pretty dangerous situation. These animals were charging officers, and they're huge, they're massive, and so obviously all the campers, the boats, the trailers, and everyone trying to get to the cottage, certainly got their eyes a load of distractions here when they came between Aurora Road. The cows made it up to King, and actually we're now at Canal Road. It's been a very busy afternoon for the Aurora OPP here.
Yeah, what can you do? Usually when you're driving somewhere, especially on a long weekend, things are going a bit slower. Often when it's all backed up, it's because of just an accident on the highway or something. This is an altogether different situation, though. It was a group of cows that just wandered onto the highway. They had to shut down. It's a divided highway. They had to shut down both lanes because when these cows got out of their, I don't know, farm or whatever, they just kind of mingled around on the highways, going in both directions, as well as that kind of center median. But like we've covered on this show before, if cows want to go somewhere or stand somewhere, there's very little a human being can do about it.
Yeah, a cow is a big animal, and
yes,
it's going to knock you over whether you like it or not.
Or not even, or just stand there and you're just like, what the hell can I do? You can't push them if the things are 600-800 pounds or whatever they weigh. But these ones actually got quite heated. We heard in that news clip there, that was a cop talking to the news. These cows were actually a little agitated and were charging at officers and everything. So it's a bit of a scene. And I guess it shut down the highway for hours. So could you imagine how far traffic was backed up?
This police officer who they interviewed for this story almost seems like he's a news reporter as well. You find just the way he spoke and the way that he delivered the story. It sounded like he was a news correspondent on the scene, and he was just dressed up as a police officer. But
actually, I didn't set up the clip that way, but a lot of people listening to this probably assumed that was a reporter in the field talking. But no, that was a cop who was giving that news hit. I guess
yeah, because I've seen another clip of him kind of doing a selfie report as well, and he was kind of delivering the same thing. And I'm like, this guy seems like he works for the news station. He seems trained. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, well, you know what it could be. It's just if you're a cop and you're out trying to deal with a bunch of cows on the highway, once you block the highway, what else is there to do other than just kind of stand around and wait for something to happen with the cows? He was probably just bored, and he's like, I'm going to have fun with this.
Yeah, and he might get enough compliments that maybe he'll leave the force and he'll join whatever news organization will have him. Maybe we should hire him.
That's what I'm thinking. We could send him a correspondent badge if he's listening. send us a voicemail. We'll send you a correspondence badge.
Don't bother wasting your time going to journalism school or whatever else it takes. Save the money and leave a voicemail at nighttimepodcast.com/contact. And then if Mr. Officer, your voicemail is played on the air, you will then have the opportunity to email your address, your mailing address to
nighttimepodcast@gmail.com. And I will send you a hot pink swag pack with your badge in there. But that leads me, before we get into the rest of the stories tonight, let's catch up with an offer we made last week. Do you remember I started the show and I talked about how I came into possession of a whole bunch of New Kids on the Block stuff, coloring books, sticker books, action figures, collectible everythings. And I said, if I got a voicemail that blew my mind, I would send out a New Kids on the Block surprise to a lucky listener.
Right. I do remember this. I'm still working on my voicemail that I'm going to send in to try and win the New Kids on the Block prize pack.
Well, you're going to have your work cut out for you because we got one. Somebody took the bait. A listener named Candy from Waco, Texas, of all places. Have you ever heard of someone other than them from Waco, Texas?
What do you mean by that?
Like them, like the situation, the cult and all that stuff.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm aware of the cult situation you're talking about, but I still, when I hear Waco, Texas, it's not the first thing that comes to my mind.
Really? I bet you if I got 5,000 people from Canada and the United States, and I said, tell me one thing about Waco, Texas, that's what it would be. But anyway, all that to say, let's hear what Candy from Waco, Texas has to say. And you let me know if this earns a New Kids on the Block prize pack.
Hey, Jordan and Aaron. My name is Candy. I'm from Waco, Texas. Been listening to you guys since I heard you on Morbid. I'm actually sending this voicemail in response to your New Kids on the Block merch call. I'm hoping that maybe you might consider sending me something. I was actually once the biggest New Kids on the Block fan, so much so that my room was featured in an issue of Tiger Beat because every wall was covered in New Kids on the Block pictures. So thought maybe that would help me be deserving enough. Anyway, love the podcast. Love you guys. Thanks.
I think that's good. It hits me in the nostalgias. Tiger Beat magazine, whole bedroom, New Kids on the Block stuff.
I only have one issue with it. That's great that you had your room covered in New Kids posters. But what about now? Is it still covered? Because the fan that we're looking for would still have their room covered to this day.
Yeah, that's a good point. But again, this is our only entrant. Of everyone who listens to Keep Canada Weird, we have listeners all around the world. We had one who was interested in the New Kids on the Block prize pack. Candy, email me at nighttimepodcast@gmail.com and I will send you out something New Kids themed.
Well, that's exciting. I see is the contest over then? You're just giving it to her?
I literally got a box of this stuff. So Candy will get something. If anyone else can blow our minds, send in a New Kids related voicemail and we'll see if we can get you something. The action figures are staying. It's the books that I'm willing to part with.
Okay.
But I'll tell you, whoever wants something after Candy, they really need to ramp it up.
Right. I think it's the structure of this contest that I'm a little concerned about.
It's pretty loose, but
it's
that's
a little too loose for my taste. It seems like just anybody who says New Kids in their voicemail is going to get at least a page from a coloring book.
Well, maybe we're not great at contests, but what we are great at is keeping Canada weird by seeking out, highlighting, and exploring the unique and offbeat Canadian news stories from the past week. Tonight, we have a whole smorgasbord of dumb Canadian crimes and dumb Canadian criminals. Let's take our first ad break, and when we get back, we're going to get right into it heavy. This is going to be a wild one. Buckle up for the dumb Canadian criminals that were busy last week. On last week's episode, Aaron, we talked about psychics who were using love and relationship advice as a way to scam. I'm sure you remember that. The psychic scammers of episode 163.
I do, because after that episode, I called one and got scammed.
Oh, damn it. Well, they're in the news again. This is a very weird twist. We talked about psychic romance scammers last week. One of them was in the news this week in a very surprising way. Here's our first dumb Canadian criminal. Our story's going to start in Florida on Christmas morning back in 1998. When police respond to an early morning vehicle crash, they find 19-year-old Nancy Lopez and her 18-year-old boyfriend, Darvin, both deceased. They also find the driver of the pickup truck that hit them, a man named Patrick Lutz. He's alive, but has the strong odor of alcohol coming from his breath. A subsequent breathalyzer found Lutz with a blood alcohol content more than 3 times the legal limit. Of course, he was charged with manslaughter, but in the lead up to his trial, he disappeared, completely vanished. And he's been a wanted fugitive ever since. But that begs the question, why is this tragic story being featured on Keep Canada Weird? Well, they found him in an unlikely place. Here comes the story of the psychic fugitive.
Allegedly driving drunk on this road in Florida, prosecutors say Patrick Lutz Jr. crashed his pickup truck, killing 19-year-old Nancy Lopez and her boyfriend on Christmas morning 1998. A fugitive for more than 2 decades, Lutz has now been found and arrested after leading a double life in Toronto.
What he was wrong, running around. He's going to pay for everything he did.
A CBC News investigation finds Lutz used the alias Pat Lighthelp, working as a self-styled psychic, drinking with friends and enjoying ski trips in Canada. All while Lopez's loved ones agonized over her memory, trying to hold on to hope Lutz would be caught.
He didn't even call to apologize to us or say, I'm sorry. If he doesn't get justice here, God's gonna punish this guy.
Still, I cry for her. Still, she's my baby sister,
Court files we obtained show in November 2023, an anonymous tip that Lutz was in Canada later led police to this Toronto apartment building where the fugitive had been living.
It's kind of surprising. It's very shocking. I cannot believe it.
Records show Lutz was denied entry to Canada at the Niagara Falls border crossing in 2003. It's not clear when he later found his way in and how he remained on the lam while living out in the open, even hosting a monthly trivia night at this Toronto bar.
Unless you come into contact with law enforcement somehow, or try to fly on an aircraft or try to cross the border, it's possible to remain hidden.
Lutz is scheduled to appear in this downtown court later this month. He faces extradition back to Florida, where he's charged with 2 counts of manslaughter.
There's a lot going on in that one. 2+ decades being on the run from the United States. This guy managed to find his way into Toronto, and for the most part, it sounds like he built a life for himself. They didn't say, or yeah, they said he was using a fake name, working as a psychic, which maybe would involve a lot of cash. So maybe that was a way to get money without, having your name out there.
I really want to know more about the anonymous tip.
It has
and
to
I know
be like
it's
an
supposed
X
to
or
be
something.
anonymous, so we're not supposed to know about it in theory, but that's the most interesting part about this is who found out. Were they, keeping an eye on him for a while? Like it seems strange because, the crime was so long ago and it wasn't like that. It was this infamous crime, like a mass murder of some kind
or some high profile thing. 'Cause it was
It
manslaughter.
wasn't the Unabomber, right? It was, it sure like a horrible crime. Absolutely.
He killed 2 kids. And
it was awful. But was someone looking for this guy and then finally found him?
It could be that. I think more likely it was like the end of a relationship or something. Maybe he was dating someone for a while and revealed his secret, and then it went south. And that said, if he's a romance psychic, he should have saw that coming.
Yeah, he should have. I like how they highlighted that he went on ski trips in Canada. It's like, and he probably went to get the mail every now and then too.
Yeah, he drank milk in Canada.
Yeah, yeah. He had some maple syrup
Yeah.
and played hockey.
The only info they probably had from him was like they probably found a Facebook account or something, and there was skiing photos. So they're like, "Oh yeah, he was
Yeah, and they
skiing in
mentioned
Canada,"
he drank beer or something. He was like,
and they showed a photo of it. So that probably also
"Oh
on
yeah,
his Facebook, he probably had 4 photos. One is him skiing, one is him drinking a beer with his friend, and the other is like him at his karaoke night, which is ridiculous.
yeah, yeah." And I mean, maybe it was his Facebook page that got him caught. Maybe somebody recognized him, and
Yeah, yeah. I said he had 4 photos. Those are the first 3: the skiing, the drinking, the karaoke. The fourth photo was one from like years ago, and he's wearing like his name tag from some crappy job that says his
yeah,
original.
his job at Blockbuster. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad he's busted. You know, revenge is a dish best served cold. So you could say it's not like he's caught so later in life that he's like this old man and the justice is kind of meaningless anyway. This guy,
Mhm.
he's been on the run for years. He's probably been paranoid. Anytime anything weird happens, he probably thinks, "Oh, they're coming to get me." I hope he pays the price.
But he might have been comfortable at this point in time, and maybe that's why he got caught.
Maybe he got lazy, but how comfortable can you be as a romance-themed psychic living with a secret identity in Toronto?
But that's got to have his photo out there in the public a little bit, maybe on some billboard ads, maybe, online somewhere on websites. He's going to be advertising as a love psychic. So, that's kind of a bold move as someone who's on the run to
Yeah.
be putting your face out there. Even if your name has changed, you're putting your face out there.
That's true. But it's certainly not bold and exciting the way like being a bank robber or something would have. He's working like a strange job and on the run from like an awful crime that nobody is like, at least with a bank robber, you're doing something bad and you're stealing from people or whatever. It's like a bit exciting and sexy. But like killing two
Yeah, you find stealing from people sexy.
if it's a bank robber who like plans it and it's smooth and they're like professional and no one gets hurt, kind of, yeah,
Yeah, but you are now people get emotionally hurt in a bank robbery
that's true.
because you're coming in here and you're staging an act that making people believe that their lives are in danger. So I
What
think
if
you should think about this before you start making it erotic.
what if you're a classy bank robber? You walk in a suit and you just slide a paper over the table to the teller and it says like, just give me all the money, no one gets hurt, I walk out of here and like it's okay, don't worry.
It's literally written like that. Dot 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 like dot dot dot. It's okay. Dot. Don't worry.
I guess that's
Also, P.S. I'm a love psychic.
how about a bank robber that sneaks in at night? A burglar. Like at night, the bank's closed. They go in through the ceiling.
So you're all in black,
There's
and
lasers.
you're being lasers, and you're being lowered down, and you're crawling through the lasers, and you're replacing the weight of the diamond with something of equal weight. And
That I think we can agree that that's a sexy crime.
yeah, I guess of all the crimes.
Well, it's certainly better
But
than.
but here's the thing: where's the money going? I would have to know where the money's going in that sex crime.
It isn't a sex crime in that sexy crime.
No, I forgot the why. Sorry. I guess that's a real big difference.
Yeah,
actually.
huge difference.
Sexy crime versus sex
Okay.
crime is, yeah.
All that to say, impaired driving leading to the death of an 18 and 19-year-old couple is like a heinous crime, awful crime, and you want him to get caught.
Are you asking me?
No, I'm saying like society wants him to get caught. You, me, everybody.
Yeah, me and you, and then everybody.
Okay. This is a serious crime. Let's move on to a less, well, actually, I can't even say that. We're going to move on to another crime that you would think isn't that serious and we should be able to laugh at it, but it actually is quite shocking when you see the video. This is, I guess we can call it the armed donair robbery. A shocking crime in New Westminister, British Columbia is as chilling as it is stupid. A man wearing a balaclava-style face mask entered Paradise Donair armed with a long machete. When the man charges towards the staff behind the counter, it becomes clear that he's not looking for money, as instead of going for the cash register, he uses the machete to begin carving at the donair meat. Here's the story of the armed donair robbery. It's a weird one.
For 27 years, Ali Boyraz has been providing the people of New Westminster with a signature Mediterranean dish, the donair.
You shave the meat, serve them on a rice or in a pita bread with some homemade sauces.
Ali remembers some years early on when street disorder was an issue, but things improved. So he was stunned when this happened.
And I got a phone call from my staff saying that there's a guy with the ski mask with the huge machete knife.
It was the evening of April the 26th. Staff were filling the usual orders when suddenly a man storms the kitchen area wielding a massive blade. He's apparently not after money, but a meal. He tries to carve off a piece of meat, gives up, gathers other pieces into a bag, then makes for the condiments, where he's also noticeably choosy and clumsy. The criminal mastermind didn't get far.
A bystander saw what was going on, called 911. Our officers were able to get to the area quickly, locate the suspect, and safely make an arrest.
Police say they arrested New Westminster resident Sidney Hayden and have recommended charges of robbery and possession of a weapon for a dangerous purpose. As much as Hayden's alleged dinner heist appears as a hapless attempt at self-service, look again as the servers are forced to cower in fear. This was a serious crime with a genuine threat of violence.
What I can say is if anyone is hungry in the city of New Westminster, there are a number of social services available where they can get food for free.
Ali says he'd prefer to give away a meal rather than have his staff stare down a threat. He also believes that given the violent nature of the alleged crime, that Hayden should be in custody until his trial. But a judge disagreed with that idea, letting him out on the promise he behave and not possess a weapon.
Actually, I wasn't very happy. I was hoping that he would be still in jail until the court date and charges.
How do you want to tackle this one? Should we tackle it in the context of that was like a stupid crime and what a dumb Canadian criminal? Or tackle it in the context of like, why would you go that far to get donair meat? Because he charges in the restaurant or in the pizza shop or whatever, again with a huge machete, pointing it at the staff running towards them. They look terrified, as I would be. All of that for probably $25 worth of donair meat and toppings.
Yeah, no, it's troubling. I like to think in my mind that maybe he didn't intend to make it so violent. He was just simply using his machete to cut his own donair meat. He didn't want to dirty their knives.
Yeah, but it was more so the pointing it at them. Like as he's running around the counter, he's pointing the machete right towards these, looks like these two small women that are working there.
Yeah.
And he's charging towards them with it. But he stops just before he gets to them, again with the machete pointed at them, and then just with both hands he's taking it and just hacking away at the donair meat, which for anyone unfamiliar, it's on a big spit, I think, where it's like kind of slowly turning. So it's this big hunk of meat, and you see him on the security camera footage. He's trying to carve off the donair meat from this big spit. He has some trouble with it, so instead he just is grabbing like handfuls of the meat that was already cut, and he's just like dropping it in a backpack. He walks over to where all the ingredients are, and he's taking like handfuls of like, I guess, onions and stuff, throws that in the backpack, and just walks out of there only to get arrested. And like we heard in that news clip, like it may seem like a silly and dumb crime, but if you run in a store robbing it and you're pointing a weapon at somebody, like, yeah, that's a big deal. Whether it's a gun or a machete or, bear spray if you're in some parts of Canada.
Yeah, no, it's a violent gesture and it's terrifying, and I certainly would be crapping my pants if I was working that day in that store.
Mm-hmm.
But it's weird in the sense that it's unusual to have such a violent approach towards stealing donair meat.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the part of this that we can't wrap our mind around. So I don't know how to really think about this story. It's definitely weird. It's definitely unfortunate.
What do you think of him being out on, like he's released while awaiting trial? My problem with that is like this guy's obviously unhinged. It's not a normal thing to do to run into a pizza shop with a machete to steal basically like a wrap. Like that doesn't seem like I feel like this guy needs more than a trial and him being released with a promise to reappear in a month or whatever it is.
Yeah, I don't know really what the check boxes are for them to decide who stays and who goes before their trial. But
do you think one of the check boxes should be like commits a violent and insane pointless crime? If you check yes, then they get held.
wielded a machete in a psychotic manner for donair meat might not be a checkbox there, so it was just too specific of a thing.
Both of these, the psychic fugitive who got busted, great that he got busted, committed a horrible crime. This donair guy, dangerous, reckless, pointless, and stupid. Glad he got arrested as well. Let's talk a little bit about a crime we talked about last week that some listeners had a lot to say. You remember we heard about the old man in Montreal who walked his dog without putting it on a leash and ended up, depending on who you believe, getting his butt kicked by the cops a few times over several years. You remember this guy, right?
Oh, I remember, yeah.
We've received a lot of listener comments and opinions on that story. Let's air two contrasting opinions and see where the chips fall. Let's first hear from Anna. She has a bit to say about the man from Quebec we talked about last week that wouldn't keep his dog on a leash.
Hi, Jordan, Handsome Aaron Airport. This is Anna from KC. I just wanted to comment on the story about the man who will not leash his dog. I do think the police are using a little too much excessive force, but at the same time, with this man who will not leash his dog, why hasn't animal control stepped in and taken the dog away? As a proud dog owner myself, I definitely prefer to have my dog on a leash when she's outside versus no leash at all. It's not just for other people's safety and other dog safety, but your own dog safety as well. I mean, if mine wasn't on a leash, she wouldn't understand to get out of the way of a moving car. So those are just my thoughts. I hope you guys have an awesome day. Thanks. Bye.
Anna makes a lot of good points there. And as a new dog owner myself, as we got into at the top of the episode, I understand the safety and security the leash provides your dog. I get all that. The big point that she made, though, that I never thought of last week, could this not be better handled by like animal control in some way than the police?
Again, my point going back to last week is that we don't have all the story here. I'm sorry, because I find it hard to believe that police officers would just randomly overreact to just the fact that this guy wasn't walking his dog on a leash. Like there's so much more to this than
there has to be.
There has to be, right? So I think we're dealing with not enough information to properly comment on this, because there are people who don't have their dogs on leashes all the time and they never get tackled to the ground. So there's something else going on here that the bystanders that day and us as, correspondents and hosts of Keep Canada Weird, we just don't have the info.
Yeah, that's a good point. But animal control could be involved. Also bylaw enforcement, because it's not like a criminal thing. Police don't enforce bylaws. Like if I was, I don't know, if I had like some garbage out in my front yard or something and it was against the rules of my city to have that, it's not like the cops would show up. I'd just get bylaw enforcement would come and give me a ticket or something like that. I would think the dog stuff would be a bylaw rather than like a criminal legal thing. So it seems like this dog issue, there has to be more to it, because I don't think the police should be enforcing that.
Right. I agree with you. And I think that there's more going on here, and the loose dog is just the straw breaking the camel's back here.
Well, let's hear another opinion on this story. And it's from a completely different angle. Let's hear what Charlotte thinks of this man walking his dog unleashed.
Hi, Aaron and Jordan. Calling to give my 2 cents about the elderly gentleman and his dog, Cookie. You know, should Cookie be on a leash? Probably. However, I do think when you've made it to a certain age, you kind of deserve some slack. You should be allowed to kind of get away with some things. I think you've earned it. Life is hard. It's hard to live that long. And when you get to the point where you look like a wizard and you walk with a walking stick, I don't know. I just think they should cut you a little slack. You know, if I was in the ice cream aisle at a grocery store watching an old person, as Jordan might do, and I saw the old person shoplifting some ice cream, I wouldn't say anything. Yeah, you do you. You probably deserve that ice cream, and who cares if you don't? You're old. Have a thrill. Anyway, that's all. Thanks, guys.
It's a slippery slope if you're just going to let senior citizens just run amok. You know, we have an animal uprising on our hands. We have teenagers who are trying to destroy society. You're just going to pass the keys to the seniors to do whatever the hell they want?
We don't need another uprising going on in our neighborhoods here. We can't. We're struggling to deal with the ones that we have. Now there's going to be a seniors crime wave happening because we have correspondents out there telling their grandparents
that they're exempt,
that it's okay to steal, and they're above the law because they're older.
It would be called the senior exemption crisis.
Yeah. And where's the line? Like, what crime is the line here? So apparently stealing ice cream, this listener believes, is fine. Unleashing your dog is fine. What about hitting someone?
Punching them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Assault.
I guess it depends why.
Exactly. So it's going to get real fuzzy real quick.
Well, there'd have to be a separate court altogether that would handle that completely separate.
Yeah. Would a senior be allowed to wield a machete stealing donair meat? Is that? And then you know what else is going to happen? People are going to start dressing up as old people. Young people will dress up as old people to commit crimes.
I kind of like this idea. Just like one day a year they should have.
Hey, I don't know what you're talking about, officer. I'm 90.
One day a year. It'd be like The Purge. You know, I've never seen that movie, but I get the concept of it. But it could be like kind of like a senior's version of The Purge. And yeah, I'm here for that. You know, a little bit of chaos one day of the year.
Well, they probably need 2 or 3 days because they move a lot slower.
That's true.
So in order to commit their crimes, they would need a little extra time.
We've already talked a lot about dumb Canadian criminals, but man, last week was the week of dumb Canadian crimes. When we get back from our final ad break of the evening, we have what may be the dumbest Canadian criminal of all time. It involves TikTok, and it involves an idiot. Let's have a quick break, and then we'll hear all about it. This will be the stupidest criminal. This person,
oh my God,
I cannot stand them one bit.
It's crazy.
Handsome Aaron Airport. I just want to say this story that we're going to be discussing involves someone that I absolutely can't stand. This story is nails on a chalkboard, but it is certainly weird Canadian news. This is the stupidest escaped inmate of all time. Do you want to say anything before we get into it?
The story speaks for itself. It is one of the dumbest stories we've ever covered.
A 24-year-old Alberta woman who police say was mistakenly released from jail as the result of a fake letter is now taunting authorities on TikTok under the handle, I'm not going to say her handle, is now taunting authorities on TikTok. The account, believed to belong to Mackenzie Dawn Hardy, features posts mocking police and bragging about the head start she has, prompting both concern and viewership. Here's the story of the stupidest escaped inmate.
Hi everybody, my name is Mackenzie, and I got a funny story to tell you guys. That story starts back in April when 24-year-old Mackenzie Dawn Hardy was awaiting trial at the Fort Saskatchewan Correctional Centre. The jail got a letter saying her charges had been paused. Police say that letter was fake, but it fooled officials and Hardy was let go. On Thursday, this TikTok account appeared under the handle Kenzie's on the Lam. The first post, our global news story about her release.
I'm an escaped inmate right now. They are not going to catch me.
Police believe this is Hardy, one post commenting, already across Canada. That's what happens when they give you a 3-week head start before notifying the public.
There's thoughts that, well, did she know about this? And was it someone else that did it on her behalf and she's just got let go and didn't know about it? That would have been an interesting defense.
The first video has garnered around 80,000 views. Dan Jones questions why the province didn't alert the public sooner.
It almost feels like they're trying to kind of keep it under wraps, which is, I think, has a little bit of an issue when it comes to legitimacy of the correctional services.
RCMP Corporal Troy Savinkoff says he has never seen such a brazen and taunting escape. He adds the warrant for Hardy's arrest is within Alberta, but could be extended if she's found in another province.
Certainly this type of behavior isn't an effective way to try to stay 1 foot or 1 step ahead of the police. Her arrest it's an inevitability, and when it happens, it'll be interesting to see what she says when she's standing before the judge.
Jones says it will likely not be long until she's found.
She's calling the police out where the police are. She's going to give them, unfortunately for her, a breadcrumbs to leading to her arrest, which is probably going to happen sooner than later when you're on TikTok doing things like that.
She must have been involved in that letter this fraudulent letter getting sent to the prison. Like the way I understand it is was being held in custody while awaiting trial. So also, I just want to say the guy who went into the donair shop with a machete isn't held in custody. He's good to go. But she was being held in custody while waiting trial for like fraud or like theft, kind of those sorts of charges. Somehow a letter shows up at the prison saying like, oh, this is the courts, we've dropped the charges against her. And so they're like, okay, you're good to go. She goes and then makes a TikTok account and just is taunting the police. Like she has videos where it's like the song F the Police and she's just, like posing, and it's just abrasive, awful stuff. I hate this story.
Yeah, I'm surprised the letter worked. Whether it was her, I doubt it was her who crafted the idea.
It was probably ChatGPT.
No, but I'm sure someone who thought of the idea to send a fake letter. I doubt it was her that thought of that. I'm sure it was a friend of hers who is of a higher intelligence, and because the activities and behavior of her post letter is doesn't match up with the quality of the way she escaped. So
why bother taunting them? It just seems so stupid, because it's like if you got out fraudulently or whatever and you just laid low, you'd have a way better chance. Why do you need to go on TikTok and mock them and just be ridiculous?
It's that generation, I guess. They're so tied to social media that they can't help themselves anymore. And they're willing to risk getting thrown back in jail to get followers in a TikTok account. So it speaks to how addictive and traumatic and terrible social media is.
Yeah, well, let's hear another side of the story. After the news clip we just heard aired, she made a video kind of in response or in reaction to it. Let's listen to her talking about this news clip we just listened to.
Breaking news out of Edmonton, Alberta. Me, Mackenzie, is taunting the RCMP by making TikTok videos. Apparently, with these videos I'm making, is gonna get me caught. But you guys have had my back in the comments telling me to continue running and giving me support. The cops are just pissed because I'm 1 step ahead of them.
I think your analysis of it was right, I'm sure. All you guys in the comments are giving me support and encouraging me. So it's just like I'm gonna say this is someone who's had hardly any friends in their life. They managed to get like a little bit of attention by doing this stupid thing, and they're just like riding this wave of just nonsense. I hate this story. I can't wait till they get her.
Yeah, I'm very excited for her. I hope it's in the middle of one of her dumb videos on
Yeah.
TikTok. I hope it's like she's filming something in her car, and then all of a sudden it's just a tap, tap, tap on the window.
Hi guys, just wanted to hop on for a minute and let you know that I'm still like way ahead of the cops. And then,
Yeah.
I would love that. I'd pay good money for that.
And I also think the people in the comments are just baiting her. I think who generally, even people on TikTok, are going to actually support someone running from
Yeah.
the law who escaped for a crime that was probably really dumb and stupid.
Yeah. I have the list here. She was in custody waiting to hear in wait. She was in custody waiting to appear in court for offenses including possession of stolen property, fleeing from police, and driving while prohibited. So that's just like piece of crap crimes.
Yeah.
So you suck.
Yeah, it's not like she's a freedom fighter of some kind, like making a
yeah,
political
exactly.
statement or protesting something and getting arrested. This is just a junky person who did a junky crime, and the people on TikTok are just probably like, are being sarcastic probably for the most part.
Yeah, like this is stupid. Keep going.
This is I'm using the bathroom and I'm watching your TikTok and it's entertaining. So yeah, keep running.
Yeah. What else could be cool is if the final video on her channel is like the cop who arrests her, like opens up her phone like because of the warrant or whatever, and makes a TikTok video letting her followers know that she's.
Oh yes, definitely.
And it's the guy from the
It's
cow.
the guy from the cow video. Yeah.
It all comes full
Welcome
circle.
everyone to the arrest of a complete moron who escaped from jail.
All this to say, there's a lot of dumb Canadian crime for one episode. We often have a segment of dumb Canadian crime or dumb Canadian criminals. This has been a whole special.
It's also been special.
It has been special. And you know what else is special? Giving the mic to a listener and allowing them to take us out, allowing them to wind down the show in a special way. We have a listener named Freya who wants to end the show with what she describes as a consumer complaint, but I don't think so. I think this is a rant. You let me know what you think. Or is it a consumer complaint rant? Here it comes.
Hello, Jordan. Hello, Aaron. It is Feyre from Aurora, Illinois, calling with a consumer complaint. With this one, I have to tell you a little bit about me. I don't like mint. I don't like peppermint. I don't like spearmint. I don't like wintergreen. I don't like mint candies. I don't like mint chocolate chip ice cream. I don't like York peppermint patties. I just don't like mint. I don't like mint gum. I don't like mint. So my consumer complaint is that all adult toothpaste in the supermarket is some variation of mint. I hate brushing my teeth because it's always mint. I get that it's supposed to make you feel fresh, but I hate mint. I've resorted to having to use children's toothpaste that's typically like bubble gum or watermelon or strawberry because all the adult toothpastes in the supermarket are mint. So, if we could please stop having mint toothpaste and maybe throw in like a little strawberry for the adults, or just not mint, maybe even unflavored toothpaste. But that's my consumer complaint. I love you guys. Y'all are awesome. And I hope at least one person in the world shares my hate of mint and my disdain for mint toothpaste.
Is that a consumer complaint or was that a rant?
It's a hybrid. It's both. It was definitely a rant because it had the length of a rant. At first,
Yeah,
I was
the
like,
amount-
"This is just a rant" because I couldn't see the consumer aspect of it. Because I was like, it's just Mother Earth that makes mint. So what is she complaining to Mother Earth? This isn't a consumer complaint. But then she pivoted and went towards toothpaste, modern toothpaste in grocery stores, and complaining about the mint taste of them. So I could see it being leaning towards, or at least bending towards, consumer complaint at that point.
It did straddle the line quite a bit. Do you want to address it? Because I feel like I got the solution. She's in the United States, so maybe I have a Canadian solution, but I have some pretty good ideas.
I've got a solution for it
Okay,
too.
fire away.
You can make your own toothpaste. It's very easy.
Oh.
With baking soda and a few other little things. And you can keep it unflavored, and it'll clean your teeth, and it'll probably taste a little bitter, but what would you prefer?
Yeah, well, mine is, for one, you can get the Arm & Hammer, which is like baking soda flavored. That's not mint. That's like, tastes like baking soda. I use that. I love that stuff. And then there's also a kind, I don't know the name brand, but there is a cinnamon toothpaste I've used before. And I find that's refreshing and nice. She said, why don't they have unflavored toothpaste? That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know, because I would say 99% of the general population wants some kind of a breath freshening aspect to their, yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of the point of it. Yeah, the flavor isn't to hide the taste of, like, I don't know, the fluoride or whatever. I guess without any flavor, it would probably just be like Play-Doh or something like that. But the flavor isn't so much to hide that. The flavor is to give you this fresh scent afterwards. And mint, people often associate with freshness. They also associate lemon with freshness. There's no lemon toothpaste that I'm aware of.
No, but lemon reminds me of cleaning a floor, like a lemon pledge kind of thing.
Yeah, you don't really clean like your floors with mint.
No.
Either way, we've offered the venue here on Keep Canada Weird for consumer complaints, for finding relationships, and yes, sure, for rants. So we welcome these types of calls, and I would offer to send her some not mint flavored toothpaste, but I don't know about sending like medical-ish stuff across the border. I think we get in trouble.
Yeah, we're really pushing the envelope by sending badges from Canada over to the United States quite often.
And new kids stuff.
Yeah.
Down to Texas.
Yeah. So in this day and age right now, we're kind of pushing our luck, I think.
This has been a great episode, though. I thought that was a nice way to end it. Is there anything you want to say or do before we put a cherry on top? Before we put the cuffs on this episode full of dumb Canadian crimes?
Yeah, let's just end it. Let's put a bow on it.
Okay, I'm holding my fist out, Aaron. Fist bump.
Bump.
Handsome Aaron Airport. Until next time.
Jordan, bus stop, backhoe, toothpaste, Bonaparte. Until next time.
Fight the urge to look up that young woman's TikTok account. Don't even give her the one view of encouragement. The only video you should watch on her channel is whatever one involves her being busted.
Yeah, and Jordan, until next time, maybe this woman will run so long that she escapes the law and becomes a love psychic. And then you and I find her years later working as a love psychic. We recognize her, and then we call in anonymously to the police and say, we found her.
Get her.
And then we get our poetic justice in the end.
I want to thank you for helping Aaron and I fulfill our mission to keep Canada weird. If you got a news story from your area that you'd like to share with us, or have any thoughts or theories or opinions on anything we discussed tonight, we'd love to hear from you. You can contact us by using the voice recorder that can be found at nighttimepodcast.com/contact. And on that topic, I want to give a big thank you to this episode's correspondents. If your voice message was aired tonight, you can email me your address. My email is nighttimepodcast@gmail.com, and I'll get a Keep Canada Weird badge and swag pack sent out to you. I just ask that you wear the badge proudly and responsibly. Next, a big thanks goes out to Aaron for another great night, Unicole for the intro and outro voiceovers, and Monty Data for the outro version of O Canada. And then, of course, a sincere and massive thank you goes out to each and every one of you listening. Your support makes this show possible. And if you'd like to support the show even more, please consider a subscription to the premium feed, which can be found at nighttimepodcast.com/subscribe. The premium feed costs just a couple dollars a month, but that money will fund the creation of new episodes of the show, and it'll give you those episodes 2 days early, ad-free, and access to a back catalog of episodes. And even if you don't want to go premium, you can still support the show by sharing this episode on social media. That helps a lot too, and it's free. Your support is very much appreciated. So with all that said, until next time, take care of each other, hug your loved ones tight, and together, let's keep Canada weird.
Keep Canada Weird is written, hosted, and produced by the Nighttime Podcast.